Okay, I'm going to get into big breaking news on the Benghazi front. Benghazi investigation deepens. Lawmakers seek interviews of 13 officials involved. It's also now been confirmed that Lois Lerner was involved and is been lying when she said before she went under oath and took the fifth that she knew nothing. So if the Republicans want to destroy the criminal Obama-oids, they can do it. The problem is their leadership, like Ted Cruz said on Monday, is basically bought and paid for by the same people, the Republican leadership. And that's why you see the mainstream media and the neocons attacking Rand Paul, Ted Cruz, Matt Drudge, Alex Jones, people like that. I mean, we've now got Glenn Beck saying he's a libertarian, attacking establishment Republicans. We're very close to getting Rush Limbaugh to do that. I mean, listen, people just don't expect that libertarians and constitutionalists, freedom lovers, whatever you want to call us, couldn't take America back. You see, that's the big lie, folks, that you don't believe you can have an effect. Every media I talk to, even mainstream media, that's, you know, calling my office that I have time to talk to, I don't even have time to call, like, GQ back. I'm not bragging, or Associated Press. I mean, I've got stacks of just, you know, we want to do a cover story on this, cover story on that. How much money do you make? It's always the same question. On and on and on and on and on. In fact, remind me to call Bloomberg back, because even though I made it clear, I want an email on record to them. It's not bad to make money, but I know how they act. They're like, so how much money do you make? And I said, $7 million a year is what it costs to run this operation. So you keep $7 million a year. And I'm like, no. I said, it costs $7 million a year to run this operation. And I put almost all the money into it. But it'd be okay if I was making money. But my goal is freedom and a future destiny for humanity. That's what gets me really excited. And they would just go back to, so you make a lot of money. So will you remind somebody when in their emails, I want it on record that it takes $7 million to run this place. That's their answer. See, that problem is I've got too much on my mind. They're doing some cover story for Bloomberg. And I'm like, well, what's it a cover story for? Well, we can't say. And I go, what, Business Week? So, I mean, it's just like, get Alex Jones is the name of the game. Get Alex Jones is the name of the game. And they're calling up. The media is trying to find people I went to high school with, a whole crew of them. Or they can just do what Mr. Maddow does. I mean, Janet Reno. Janet Napolitano. I get them all confused. Pat from Saturday Night Live. No. Ron Maddow. What? Nothing wrong with it. I mean, he's a handsome guy. I'm going to be honest with everybody. I'm attracted to Mr. Maddow, and that really conflicts my... I always thought of myself as a heterosexual, but... I wonder if Mr. Maddow is going to join the Boy Scouts as a troop leader. Sorry, that's Saturday Night Live. I get all these people confused. I'm sorry, that's not right. That's not right. I should criticize Rachel Maddow on her lying to her audience, and we'll do that in the next segment. But let me get to this. Well, I'm going to get to this after that. Roger Ailes' letter to Fox employees. Lois Lerner directly involved in IRS targeting letters show. Oh, yeah. I mean, MSNBC is now currently saying, good, go after the Tea Party. They're racist. Shut them down. You've seen them. But I saw them years ago, admittedly targeting libertarians, pro-life groups. Tell us the content of your prayers. And people did. They're like, okay, just don't shut down our pro-life thing. It's okay. You don't have to be shut down. You've got to give a pro-abortion message half the time. Well, how do we do that? It came out in Congress last week. You just go out and you have a pro-abortion, pro-choice sign for 1 hour, then you have an anti-abortion sign. And then we'll allow you to operate. How's that sound? I mean, that's how, I mean, they have no jurisdiction, none of that, can't get involved in your First Amendment, but they do, because Americans think that's how you get ahead, is worshiping, foaming at the mouth, sicko control freaks.
Hello, this is Hank Hill, And I'm telling you what, you need to listen to Alex Jones.
Yeah. Infowars.com. Yeah.
My judge, what is the secret of the universe?
Infowars.com. Yeah.
All right, let's get serious here, ladies and gentlemen. I want to talk directly to the White House here because George Soros funds it with millions a year. The White House transition chief and others publicly run it. And Media Matters, that has a tiny visitorship on it, still is important because it is White House run on record. Its memos have come out 2 years ago. They want to infiltrate alternative media. That means getting hired there to, quote, internally sabotage and destroy. It is an intelligence operation of deceivers. And they are used for CNN and MSNBC's talking points. If you see a Media Matters article attacking myself, Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.com, Paul Joseph Watson, Matt Drudge of DrudgeReport.com, Andrew Napolitano, whoever they're attacking, you will then see it on CNN and MSNBC that day or the next day. Word for word. They never give it credit, though. But they word for word, you know, that's their directive from the White House. And that way they can keep it separated somewhat from the White House, so it's not the White House directly running MSNBC or CNN. The talking points are written, and then they are adopted and loaded into teleprompters that night for Rachel Maddow, Chrissy Matthews, and CIA Anderson Cooper, and all the rest of them. And a day after the tragic tornado this week hit Moore, Oklahoma, the suburb of Oklahoma City, callers kept calling in saying, we think it's weather weapons. Could it be weather weapons? And I spoke off and on for the 3-hour show about it. And I'd actually been talking the day before, when even before the tornado happened, the day of the tornado, I had a weather weapons whistleblower, 9-year Air Force veteran on, talking about just tons every week of barium salts, aluminum dioxide there in Oklahoma coming to the Air Force Base. So I've had clips of the White House science czar on air about geoengineering. There's shows on Discovery Channel, History Channel about it. I've interviewed Ben Livingston, meteorologist, the father of weather weapons, that they have, Discovery Channel shows about. I mean, this is like talking about Vietnam, and they're saying it doesn't exist. I mean, it's been National Geographic shows, Associated Press. Everybody knows about weather modification, weather weapons, HARP programs. And so I said, I don't think this is a weather weapon, probably. I said, it's probably a real tornado. We're at a 60-year low. USA Today reported, in fact, maybe pull that up on screen for folks, of tornadoes, and saying we should pay carbon taxes, like Senator Whitehouse said, or we're going to cause more of this, is just voodoo. It's total voodoo. Democratic senator urges Oklahoma tornado. Again, Democratic senator uses Oklahoma tornado for anti-GOP rant over global warming. And he said, you Midwesterner red state people, we're going to play the clip. He said, we're sick of paying for you. You won't vote for the carbon taxes and all the rest of it. And so it's your fault this is happening. And we're sick of you. So he basically said, Oklahoma, you deserve what happened to you. And that we're, because of you, we're being flooded on the East Coast. I mean, just crazy talk. There's always been tornadoes, always been hurricanes, always been earthquakes. There's earthquakes now, they say. Pay Al Gore carbon taxes, pay Obama and the Chicago Carbon Exchange money. You're causing this. I mean, it's like witch doctors of old saying you're going to cause the sun to not come up tomorrow if you don't give me the best hut in the village. And then there's an eclipse and everybody bows down before the witch doctor, and now for 20 generations, his family takes over. Then he finally says, sacrifice your kids to me. Every culture ends up with witch doctors dancing around, throwing stuff into the fire, causing poofs of smoke, and everyone bowing down to them. And that's all these people are, is 21st century con artists. So Senator Whitehouse comes out and says the Midwest basically deserves this. It's their fault because we won't pay the ransom to them. And meanwhile, there's massive geoengineering going on, $5 billion worth a year by the Department of Energy, the chemtrailing. That's just thousands of government documents. It's publicly admitted, but they can tell the public doesn't exist. And that's what she said. So my wife last night, I was watching this at about 11 o'clock, and she goes, man, you ought to sue them. Now they're saying that you said the tornado was government controlled? And I said, honey, they're discredited. They're public figures. I'm a public figure. They hurt themselves doing this. I said, this is wonderful. She goes, well, it just makes me mad. And I go, it doesn't make me mad. It makes me as happy as a pig and you know what. I mean, this is awesome. This is awesome. Because we tell the truth. We're teleprompter free. We bring out big, complex thoughts. People actually resonate with it. They dumb the news down to dumb you down. Frontline did a good piece about a decade ago about how they did studies that it's not that people are getting dumber and so TV gets dumber. TV is dumber, and then that makes you dumber. Which is really common sense. Garbage in, garbage out. You program a computer bad, it's going to be bad. So we're up here with complex thoughts. And so what do with that? They go in, and on Media Matters, you notice it's audio only. So they don't show the cuts. But with her, they just show a short clip where I'm saying, well, you know, if they've got weather modification going on, they probably don't even know if they caused this. But probably real. Well, they edited that down to make it sound like that I'm saying the tornado was sent by Obama. When there's, and I also went further and said to the lady, no, you're going to see small planes and stuff low in and around a storm formation that could create tornadoes when hot and cold, you know, air comes together. I talked about meteorology. I went over the history of it. I mean, I really did a breakdown, almost like a university lecture, to try to get people to actually think. And I said, so it's probably not that. And we're going to write an article today with the full clip up there of the caller from the Tuesday show. But the point is, they took that, edited it down, and then said, you know, first, on Wednesday, it was, I said it could be man-made, and I'm crazy because there's weather modification. And then everybody in all the White House-controlled news sites was going, well, actually, there is weather weapons. You're saying he's a kook for saying it could be weather weapons? And they were posting all the UN treaties and National Geographic and AP and Reuters. So then they flipped yesterday and are now going directly to Alex Jones says that Obama sent the tornado. And they did that from Wednesday with her directive that no, Obama sent the tornado. Of course, I didn't say that. And anybody watching that knows I didn't say that. But that's who they think you are. They operate in lies and deceit. And, I mean, it's now, no exaggeration, in hundreds of publications. They're doing a full court press with this. Let's pull the Washington Post back up. Maddow shames Republicans and InfoWars conspiracy theorist Alex Jones, or conspiracyist Alex Jones. It reads like conspira-racist. Is that? Conspiracist. I guess they're inventing words because I know subconsciously you see the word racist there. The point is that they come out and they go, ooh, you're blown away. Oh, you're discredited. You're a kook. Oh, my gosh. The Republicans are doing hearings about the 2 billion plus bullets and the 7,000 armored vehicles they just bought. And they're doing things about claiming the military trying to put us in FEMA camps. And they're doing, I mean, the Republicans are getting their talking points from Alex Jones. And she goes, will you please stop it? Stop it. And, of course, that's when she's not saying, don't listen to Rand Paul and Ted Cruz. They're going to discredit you. Republicans, whatever you do, stop giving them attention. You're discredited. What they're actually saying is, please stop. Don't. No, don't get into how we're building FEMA camps and spying on you and trying to intimidate and arrest reporters. Don't look into how we're claiming the military's under NATO command. Don't look at how we're funding al-Qaeda groups in Libya and Syria. Don't listen to this madman. No, Ted Cruz, he's discrediting you. They know Ted Cruz will energize libertarians and conservatives, and then they will overthrow the old Republican leadership, and we'll take the country back. So she's like, Ted Cruz is totally discredited. He's saying the Republican leadership's bad now. Oh, that'll really discredit you. This is what they're totally afraid of. And they're all about, as control freaks, setting the narrative that you do what they say. And they go, there are no 2 billion bullets. And now they're like, so what? We got 2 billion bullets. Alex Jones is discredited. The 2 billion bullets aren't for what he said they were. And then, I mean, you read these AP debunking articles and stuff, and it says, yeah, there are 2 billion bullets, kind of, but they're not for you. And hollow points are for target practice. And, you know, the government's not training for war with you. Oh, really? We have hundreds of your training manuals saying it's for gun owners, veterans, returning veterans. You know, never mind that. Alex Jones is discredited. Republicans, you've got to stop. You've got to tell Matt Drudge to stop linking to him. I mean, she does a report every week about that. And you've got to have Ron Paul's got to stop going on his show. And Ted Cruz is bad. And don't do any. Republicans do not talk like these people. Do not behave like any of these people. Just okay, because they're discrediting you. We're hurting them, and they're desperate. Maddow's gone from 1 million viewers to 400,000 in a year, on average. On a good night, 600,000. Morgan's gone from over 1 million to 400,000 and plunging. Folks, they are bleeding out, hemorrhaging in shock on the ground because we have the truth going. And now we're going to show FM-39.40 that Obama demanded the Pentagon put out for the re-education of conservatives and libertarians and our gun confiscation. It's all in here. And we're gonna, oh, you don't want that, do you? Does that discredit me? Because it's real. It's at army.mil. You don't like that very much, do you? Oh, you want me to stop? I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop. Okay? So I want to show Ms. Maddow, I want to show Ms. Maddow. I want to show her right now just what we printed up today. Document cam shot, please. Okay? Democratic senator urges Oklahoma. Again, Democratic senator uses Oklahoma tornado for anti-GOP rant over global warming. And I'm going to get to that clip later where they actually blame Midwesterners and Oklahomans for it, saying you didn't pay us carbon taxes and we're sick of giving you billions of dollars when you have floods or when you have droughts. Because, I mean, that is outrageous. That should be the end of his political career right there, blaming the tornado victims. Oh, but no, that's the real crazy, wild-eyed conspiracy theory. I come out, and we're going to play that clip coming up. I come out and I say, callers are calling. I got open phones. And I'm like, yeah, it could be weather weapons, but probably not. That's Tornado Alley, and people need storm shelters. But here's the history of weather modification, and it's harder to steer groups of tornadoes. They can mainly help create them. But this probably wasn't that. And they think their audience is so dumb. The White House goes, the Cass Sunstein types go on this, go on this. Attacking, saying the government can control tornadoes. Certified in the 60s, they could do that and hurricanes. Stanford Research Institute declassified 5 years ago, 6 years ago now. They think you're dumb. They're targeting an audience, folks, that cannot tie their shoelaces. Can you imagine the people that actually watch this globalist garbage where everything's anti-family, anti-man, anti-woman, anti-common sense, 24/7? Now, let's go over some of this. Here is a story. Dubai's weather wizards create rain, wrestle power from Mother Nature. That was first in the Daily Mail, and it shows graphics, if you go to the Daily Mail, in color of how the HAARP antennas control the weather. Of course, our government invented these, put them up all over the country, first in the northern climes. But if you talk about it, it doesn't exist. Okay? Here's another one. National Geographic. Scientists make dozens of storms in Abu Dhabi desert. And then it goes into the secretive Swiss company that can control the weather. And then we go out and point out these exact antennas have been put up in every major region, and then they won't let anybody into them. And if you ask, they say it's a conspiracy theory. Okay, UN Weather Weapons Treaty from the 1970s. UNGA Res 31/72 TIAS 9614. I mean, here you go, Rachel. On the weather weapons, a treaty. Oh, here's another one. Bill Gates backs climate scientists lobbying for large-scale geoengineering. And then you got State Department Memorandum 200 admitting they use weather as a weapon. Wars is food is a weapon, all of it. So I'm giving you facts here. HR 2995, Weather Modification Research and Technology Transfer Authorization. And then they also set up this weather board. I mean, that's just a small, I mean, there are thousands of mainstream articles about this. We're going to skip this network break because I need to get to this clip. Now, we've got all of this going on, all of this happening, all of this unfolding, and there's a tornado. Our listeners know there's weather control to a great extent. Obviously, the Pentagon has been obsessed with it since the 40s. They've been able to make a country bone dry or flooded since the 60s, certified, Stanford Research Project, creating hurricanes, killing hurricanes, strengthening hurricanes. And Maddow will probably take a clip of this and say, look, he says they can control hurricanes, and then they play a laugh track in the background. This is how dumb they think you and your family are. This is how mindless the system thinks you are. And then they come out with, I mean, I can't even count them all. It's got to be over 100 articles. Huffington Post, Washington Post, everywhere else. Maddow shames Republicans and InfoWars conspiracyist Alex Jones. After Alex Jones pushes Oklahoma weather weapon theory, Drudge continues to promote him. That's White House Media Matters. Because my talking points, which are the truth, are killing these people politically. Alex Jones pushes tornado truther theory. There's weather weapon stuff going on. Yeah, and then I said there's stuff going on, so you never know. Maybe they inadvertently, with all this geoengineering, are screwing up the weather. And then when it is screwed up, they go, oh, pay us carbon taxes, we'll fix it. Alex Jones, on 100% sure Obama sent the tornado to destroy Oklahoma. I mean, this is the type of BS they put out. You just knew there would be tornado truthers, didn't you? So, Maddow, will weather weapon finally drive GOP away from Alex Jones? Yeah, you're scared to death that the GOP will actually become constitutional and end you people. You're busy trying to kill this country, ship all our jobs out, open the borders up, working with the Republican leadership, selling everybody out, and you're scared to death because our message unifies everybody around common sense. Oh, geoengineering governance and technology policy, Congressional Research Service. I mean, January 2nd this year. I mean, doesn't exist, though. You can watch the C-SPAN hearings with Kay Bailey Hutchinson that ran the committee on their weather manipulation of the U.S. $5 billion a year to spray aluminum dioxide over the U.S. alone. I mean, you go look at a satellite photo, type in chemtrail satellite photos of the U.S. NASA reports we're 21 to 32% darker on average globally because of condensation trails. That's because they're adding barium salts, aluminum dioxide to it. They are doing something with the atmosphere. They admit they're doing it, but it remains classified, and they're scared to death. You know, Maddow came out and attacked me years ago when I said bisphenol A 5 years ago is sterilizing you and increasing breast cancer. And they came out on MSNBC, a bunch of shows, and said he's crazy. He says the juice boxes are making you gay. No, I said the runoff of bisphenol A is making amphibians and fish have both sexual organs. And you may think it's cute that's skyrocketing in humans, that kids are growing up with two different sets of genitalia, and you're like, oh, Alex is being mean to the androgynous community now. No, they're doing this to us, and it's wrong. It reminds me of the end of Omega Man, and it's all, a remake really of The Last Man on Earth with Vincent Price, where he's got the cure, and he's like, here, I've got it. And they're like, no, we've already been transformed, and now we're going to kill you. I mean, they don't, and I don't care what you're doing sexually, but do you want your brain actually altered and the cancer that comes with it? Oh, American Scientist, assessing risk of bisphenol A. But see, I helped ram that out into the public consciousness. They're mad at me. I can change the agenda because of my audience and our friends in the real media. They don't like that. They want to keep putting hydrofluorosilicic acid in your water. That's killing all of us. On record, Harvard studies, you name it. They want to continue. They don't want you to know the juice boxes have got bisphenol A. They don't want that taken out. They don't want flame retardant taken out of the Gatorade that we exposed. They don't want you to figure out you can take the country back. Now, let's go to what Rachel Maddow is so upset about. And then tying all the other real stuff we've pointed out to something we didn't say. We're going to go to Maddow. And then we'll go to Mr. Whitehouse, the senator. So here is Rachel Maddow trying to tell conservatives and libertarians what you can and can't look at. And remember, they said the amnesty bill doesn't have felons being let off, which it does. And it doesn't let them bring in their families, which the bill did. They lie to you. They think you're stupid. They hate you. Let's go to this clip.
Two things happened recently that are related. They do not seem related at first, but trust me, they are related, so stick with me here. The first thing was a small piece of one of the planes that was used on 9/11 being found wedged in a narrow alleyway not far from Ground Zero. Now, at first, it was reported to be part of the landing gear from one of those planes. We learned it actually came from under one of the wings. So that was thing number one. Just a couple of days later, thing number two, Republicans on the House Oversight Committee held a joint hearing on the amount of ammunition the Department of Homeland Security has on hand. See, because if the federal government has more bullets than the general population, how are we going to defend ourselves in the fight against the government? Can't let the government get the upper hand in the weapons race, right? Next thing you know, they'll have like a standing army and bombs that can take out whole cities and stuff. So yes, Republicans in the House...
She gets off on that power. That's designed and pointed at other nations, the ICBMs, all that. By the way, they're now starting to point those tanks and stuff at us. That's the whole point. Eisenhower warned us about the military-industrial complex. Our founders did. And you try to make it a cynical joke associated with an airplane part I've never talked about. Let's continue with someone reading off a White House written script. Literally, this is state-run media. Here it is.
And the Senate followed up the ammo thing with an actual bill, an actual piece of legislation that's supposed to prevent the government from buying too many bullets. Yes, this is the same federal government that already stockpiles, say, Abrams tanks and armed drones and giant intercontinental missiles that can carry nuclear.
This is Homeland Security, a new fifth branch of the military, training to take on the Tea Party, while the IRS harasses everybody and harasses pro-lifers and grabs their bank accounts. You people are terrorizing the daylights out of us with black uniformed police everywhere, trying to intimidate us, and we say, hey, you're our government, stop it, and you run around trying to say it isn't happening, you witch. You're going to go to Nuremberg trial. Because you guys are going to commit your crimes. I know you're going to try a hot takeover. And let me tell you, Maddow, you're going to be in the dock at the new Nuremberg if you get your way. Back off now, witch. You really want to sign on to this takeover? Because you're going to fail. And no matter what happens to me, when this country gets taken back, you're not going to be able to run to Europe. Let's go back to her.
Weapons, all that, yes, but it's an excess of bullets that congressional Republicans have decided is the really worrying firepower. That worry...
Hey, pause again. Homeland Security paid for $2 million worth of paper targets of 5-year-old children to shoot, called No More Hesitation. You're training for us. She tries to go, well, the government's got nuclear missiles and all this stuff. That is controlled by Congress and aimed at other countries. And that's gotten out of, see, I mean, man, it's so incredible. Just let's go back to the clip. Here it is.
So crazy, so out there that even the National Rifle Association wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot rifle. And yes, the conspiracy theory about the government having too many bullets is nuts. But it's not out of nowhere. That conspiracy theory comes from the mother of all conspiracy theories that seduce Republicans. It's an internet talk show called InfoWars. Yes, this is the same guy who has been selling the idea that the massacre at Sandy Hook Elementary School and the massacre at Aurora, Colorado were actually fake. They were faked as an excuse to take away our guns and enslave us to the giant wasps who hive beneath the UN building.
All right, let's hit pause.
It's the same guy.
Those were real shootings, and they clearly let the mentally ill people do it, and they were under government payroll in both cases, and other shooters were caught and covered up. So, and I do not say that giant wasps are under the UN building. It's actually giant Easter bunnies. But, okay, the point is, I haven't even gotten to it yet. I'll have to play it the next hour, and then I'll get to White House. And the reason I'm spending a lot of time on this is it just deals with these control freaks, this mouse that's roaring. You guys could set me up and get rid of me tomorrow, globalist, and the signal's already out. Okay? Everybody knows you're a bunch of globalists taking the country over. And then she goes in and says that I said that Obama sent the tornado, which I never said. I had tried everything. I'd cut back the amount of food I was eating. I was lifting weights and jogging, but nothing was working. My body was literally starving for minerals and trace elements as well as key vitamins. And as soon as I had that, I immediately could eat half of what I was eating previously and be satisfied. Now, there are hundreds of great products at InfoWarsTeam.com, but I want to point out the 3 that have helped me lose 37 pounds in just 2 months. Products like Beyond Tangy Tangerine, Pollen Burst, and Rebound. When I started taking the Tangy Tangerine and other products every day, I lost more than 37 pounds in just 2 months. Now that's results. I want to challenge my listeners to go to InfoWarsTeam.com and to order just 3 of their products, and you will see the changes in the way you look, feel, and in your appetite almost immediately. Start your journey to health and wellness today. InfoWarsTeam.com. All right, folks, if you just joined us, America is really starting to wake up to the fact that the federal government is trying to scare and persecute people. Libertarians, conservatives, you name it. The Homeland Security documents for the last 4 years, 5 years, that we've broke and covered ad nauseum, they're training to shoot guys in John Deere hats with paper targets and 5-year-old kids. That's what Homeland Security wants in the targets they pay for. And the manual will say, your new enemy is not Al-Qaeda. It's gun owners, it's libertarians, it's returning veterans. And that's now all been mainstream news. It's taken me 5 years almost just to get people to even look at all the training manuals that started coming out as soon as Obama got in. And I mean, you're sitting here reading this stuff where they're preparing for war with you. They're buying thousands of armored vehicles. They're publicly training billions of bullets. And then Rachel Maddow goes out and laughs and says, Republicans, don't listen to Alex. And then now they're having congressional hearings. A couple years later, they've been trying to suppress this. And now they're coming out just desperately lying. The White House is. The White House writes the Media Matter stuff, saying that I said Obama sent the tornado. I was just answering callers' questions saying, yeah, they've got weather modification. Here's National Geographic, here's Associated Press, but this is probably a real tornado. I'm disagreeing with the person, but nicely, and using it as a way to illustrate, but there is massive weather modification going on. So maybe inadvertently with all this modification going on, maybe it's making less tornadoes because there's been less the last 60 years, USA Today reported. Will you guys print me that again, please? Obviously, that's a conspiracy theory, but that's what NOAA says. And then I was on a talk show, and they said, you mean the guy with the big white beard? Yeah, that's not the National Oceanic Weather Administration, or what's it stand for? I don't know. Maybe that doesn't exist either. I made that up. I said they got a Weather Modification Bureau in Congress. Maybe NOAA doesn't exist. It's crazy that they're lying this much to people and twisting things, and that they're worried about Infowars.com. And I guess they should be worried. I went for an exercise this morning to the local park. And every person, I've got to start, just because it takes my time up, I've got to start wearing, even when I wear a hat and glasses, people recognize my gorilla walk. Every person I walked by said they were a listener. Every person. And I only walked by about 10 people. Every person was stopping me and trying to shake my hand. The New World Order is in deep trouble if a little old me has reached this many people. And I don't know where the numbers are, because it shouldn't be that many for the audience we have. We have a big audience, but it shouldn't be that and about three of the people were like, I love that Piers Morgan thing. That's my favorite deal. Not that Piers Morgan's big, but that it aired everywhere. In every TV, radio, everybody covered that. It was a huge news event. One of the biggest stories of the year so far. And that's why they're so upset, and that's why they're so scared, because they're spying on everything. They know the numbers. They know how the audience is tuning in. I don't know why it's so big. I can't actually find numbers that high. Because you'd think as many people that know the show and listen to it, it's like 100 million people or something. But I don't know. I can't find those numbers. I guess it's kind of like YouTube and all the rest of it, firing bullets that ricochet forever, kind of like in Star Wars. Instead of the trash compactor, it just keeps bouncing around. I think that's what it is there's just so much stuff out there, so much I've said, and people see stuff I did 10 years ago, and they're like, well, that all came true. I think I just answered my own question. The thing is, it's really creepy, but I'm just trying to gauge why the White House is attacking us every day now through their surrogates. And they're doing it because we know what they're up to, and we know, and we're teaching people not to trust them. And we're teaching people they're criminals. And we're teaching people they're tyrants. And Obama's like, there's no tyranny. Don't look. Trust me. Hand in the guns. Never mind the army I'm building against you. Yeah. Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.